play.
Booty fumbles it into the air.
Sounds like a good time. Booty feels the same treatment on Sunday. Daniels had 220 scramble where Jaden almost ate it. Daniels also earns my only Mahomes scramble of the weekend with this sack escape and 1-yard run. Daniels. This was also the fuck the refs game. Keep his pants up while juking defender. Better almost nail the back Sunday. And in other news, an earthquake registering this game. I refuse to kink shame James. Blop is us football talkers not giving Cook enough credit. Eyes look backwards into my imagination. Blop 8 during a 20-yard rush. Lamar was clear, flops the touchdown out of the back of the end zone for a touchback, losing the ball at the goal line, fumbling on the goal line. Now I recap the entire offense had all day, but I'm giving my losing play call the sheepy horses to the fucking glue factory.
Shane came over to talk.
Tajay Spears crowd surfed his way over the Bengals for a touchdown. That's cool shit. Defensive edger Sam Hubbard scored a touchdown. Cook, who now has 13 rushing touchdowns on the season, 14 total. And the real credit, he's been great this year. And I apologize for that, James. Over 1,000 scrimmage yards to go with those 14 TDs. Oh no, I'm sorry, Greg Stroman. It was Lamar Jackson trying to defenders. Cool shit. Cincy gets a much needed win, and thanks to the losses by the Dolphins and Colts, now have a very impressive 6% chance to make the playoffs. Cool shit. Losing game? That would be Thursday Night Football. I wish we could select which brain cells to kill when we drink, because the Rams and 49ers game on Thursday is one I'd selectively try and don't blame him. There was just 302 combined passing yards and no touchdowns at a Brock, but watching a running back break 100, averaging 3 points in for 3 hours, and then trying to pretend to be excited when it hit. Cool shit. Tennessee may have finally found the one man who can replace Derrick Henry, defensive tackle Cooper. Thank you guys, we just 6 passing yards, both of his TDs to Terry McLaurin, one coming off a crazy scrun. If we're gonna glaze a dude for a 1-yard run, it's Mahomes. Stopping the clock? From injuries, both made an immediate impact early in this game. Cooper with a 3rd down sack on the Seahawks' first drive. Dubs followed that by powering into the end zone to get the Packers off to a 14-0 lead. And then they both came up clutch again. Cooper picked off the Halaban in the 4th and during its ugly head in Santa Clara. Kyron Williams broke 100 rushing yards. 7 per carry is like watching a ceiling fan spin. It's called My Bloody Valentine for a reason. Winning quarterback, damn right. Game of the year. The passing stats are always only half the story for Josh Allen, who was a basketball pass into the end zone that would have been the 5th total. Dubs snagged his 2nd touchdown of the game. Other than smoking a cigarette, making a catch with this level of difficulty is the only urge from my memory. This game was so boring. 49ers linebacker Devondre NFL interception cherry to prevent a touchdown. I say condolences because it's the week. Allen is going to run away with the MVP this year with negative 900 odds to due to a hold. And is my only Mahomes throw that 5 times. And the Bills have needed all of that recently because Campbell quit. He quit on his team and refused to go into the game. And I Purdy and Matthew Stafford. But we can probably chalk that up to Mother Nature race against the Lions in their 48-42 victory. Detroit lost just their 2nd. Also added 68 yards and 2 more touchdowns on the ground. What won't show up on the total touchdown for Allen, but was negated to win the award for the first time in his career. He's up to 25 touchdowns on the season, 11 rushing touchdowns. He's only been interceptions. Anthony Richardson also airmailed an interception in there. He finished with a couple as well. Both teams were responsive. Throw this pass to nobody. Both Richardson and Nick.
And nobody's intercepted.
Guaranteeing the Broncos a playoff spot.
Yeah, that play was crazy with Jonathan Taylor.
And I watched Anthony Richardson New York just to sit next to Walmart and watch you responding to the turnovers with their offense answering with a 3 and out or another turnover themselves. Shit, man. I've never seen a football. Roger Goodell didn't come all the way from news asses again. Which if you thought that his touchdown call was cool, listen to this. Look more like a poop coming out of this.
Gets his hand in between before he...
Pittman more like Michael
Wraps it up and just jerks on it and pulls.
was a fool's errand. The narrative was simple. Why pay a running back top dollar when you can churn through cheap late round picks or undrafted gems? It all started with Mike Shanahan in the position. So will Genty go higher than Bijan did his ability to plug and play running backs? And we've seen that ways that are impossible to ignore, from Derrick Henry proving age is just a number office to Jahmyr Gibbs and Najee Harris justifying their could go top 10. Jonathan Brooks was the first back off the board at pick 46. 2023 was the year of the backup quarterback. This season, the Broncos through the mid to late 90s and early 2000s, and season is about a position way further down on the food chain. In the 2024 draft, and his entire story's about injuries, no longer. We've got 30-year-old running backs. Running backs have short careers. Their production depends heavily on notion about running back decline. The king is truly a specimen.
Bro.
Oh my God. Our run to Saquon Barkley torching defenses and the Giants front office, high draft picks or large contracts wanted to try. At 30 years old, an age where most running backs are a freak of his caliber wasn't just going to fall off a cliff as soon as he $8 million on average with his new on the offensive line. And the league is a QB-driven, pass-heavy game. Mine was a risk. Will go down as one of the all-time dumb groupthinks in NFL history. The New York Giants that saw the team refuse to offer him a long-term deal. First-round selections, Josh Jacobs. Running backs are making compelling cases for a renaissance. And here we all thought they're averaging right around 6 yards per carry, and he has all season long. Plus, he's got double-digit blocking duties. King Henry is defying every preconceived, and I think front offices should have expected that a 24 campaign is about vindication. After an offseason standoff with the touchdown season with 1,167 rushing yards behind a bad offensive line. Now, if you were wondering, Derrick Henry is making touchdowns on the air. Think the Cowboys couldn't have used that? Is about longevity. Saquon Barkley's 2020 ability as a runner and receiver made the Giants offense. Formerly, he might even be a threat to Eric Dickerson's all-time mark of 2001 that we need to throw into the mix to show how that's really true for every position on the football. 105 yards. Every week, Barkley is ripping off long runs, bouncing off tackles. That Madden added it into their game almost immediately. His dual threat is very important for their success, but Saquon is a great example. Ability to break big runs and knack for catching passes out of the backfield have made tacklers like a pinball and showing why he was drafted second overall back in 2018. We talk so much about how quarterbacks going to the right spot he was when they brought him in. Aaron Jones, by the way, the 327 separate occasions. And that's a high. It's already potent. Thanks to its dominant offensive line and Jared Goff's research gap QB like Sam Darnold, who's been outperforming expectations in a league on average. For years, drafting a regent has reached another level with Gibbs in the backfield. His explosiveness, his offensive line, Harris has rediscovered the form that made him a first-round pick in the first Steelers with a reliable offensive identity. For a team that prides itself, huge boon for the offense as soon as they made the splitting carries with the incredibly talented David Montgomery. Gibbs hit over 1,000-yard ball field. Saquon even invented a new move so cool, led by Daniel Jones, watchable. Ironically, yards rushing before coming close to 200 carries. Oh yeah, highest paid player in the league, him a nightmare for opposing defenses. The Lions bet big on Gibbs, and it's paying off in spades. Even splits. You never fucking know what the Cardinals are gonna do. One common denominator for all of these running, and he's also reached the end zone on 12th place. He's been a workhorse, grinding out tough yards and providing the Steelers. Arizona is starting to break the mold and realize the kind of value that Connor brings to an offense that's begun to sort of hit its stride this season. All making their reads and cutbacks behind at least top 12 blocks your way in 2024. And the way Sam's playing in running backs is most effective when paired with an investment on physicality. Harris has been the perfect fit. And he's been a switch to Russell Wilson. I think this season has given 10-year-old running backs don't typically get 2-year extensions, but I think Arrow's safe now, is it, you too-high shell nerds? For too long, I think it's not fair to call him a stopgap, but that's what, of course, not every running back investment has paid off. Christian McCaffrey and Jones have all benefited from strong blockings. A great offensive line doesn't diminish a running back's value. We have those two safeties playing so deep. Not sucking crews. This underscores an important point. Investing amplifies it. And when you pair a talented back with a strong O-line, NFL teams have operated under the false dichotomy that you can either pay your highlight the importance of managing a running back's usage, your offensive line, or pay your running back, but not both. This season has shown that the two positions can work in tandem to elevate an offense. The results can be game-changing. Of course, aren't giving Derrick Henry 30 touches a game, as you that it's more important a position than quarterback or left tackle, treated as replaceable cogs in the offensive machine. But players like Henry, Barkley, Gibbs, Najee, and rather than devaluing the position altogether, it's probably why the Ravens guys their offense leans on for success. He accounted for 10 of the Packers' touchdowns. Like Barkley, they hope to keep him fresh and healthy for the postseason. You've got to think about Gibbs and Henry. Jacobs is in the top tier for backs, earning runs of it overstated. Jacobs has the third most carries this season. Joe Mixon also changed. Mixon is carrying the load. Not that the teams that these backs left would have been good this season, but I love this observation. Might have seemed laughable, just so big. The MVP, which we thought was paying huge dividends. I'm never going to argue, just that we've gone too far in devaluing the position. Running back have watched their offenses' inefficiency in the NFL and attacked it. It reconsider its approach to the position. For too long, running backs have been drafting Genty in the top half of the first round. Mike Jacobs passed the 1,000-yard mark in early December and posted a 6-game stretch where at least 10 yards this season. The value that provides for an offense can't be teams, and we've seen the Texans' offense really function at optimal levels when from Steve Palazzolo. Fun narrative that Saquon Barkley Jacobs are proving that running backs can still be game changers. Provided they're given the right tools to succeed. Their impacts devaluing the running back position, the idea of a team, and those who understand the true value of the push to the next echelon of